this 1992 Volkswagen Cabriolet in triple white on Bring a Trailer a rare classic car find? Or is this just a cheap bitch bucket? Let's find out. Nerds! Bit Nerds is your daily YouTube car game show, where we predict the online auction results of the most interesting cars on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Hagerty Marketplace, and more. It's just like the Price is Right game show. Play along and see if you can beat the nerds.
I selected for us because it's June and it's summer and school's out. And I just remember being 20 years old and my cousin had one of these and I used to borrow it all the time from her. A 1992 Volkswagen Cabriolet 5-speed in white on white on white on white. White top, white carpet, white seats, white paint, and white wheels. This car is so... JP, is this so 1990 or what? Our particular car is located out of University Place, Washington. The seller's name is Seattle, so I'm assuming, JP, you will tell us that University Place is within driving distance of Seattle. The car has 129,000 miles, powered by a 1.8 liter. It's a 5-speed manual, Alpine white with the white cloth pattern, 14-inch Zandvoort alloy wheels. I think Zandvoort is the Grand Prix track in the Netherlands. I think that's correct, but somebody in the herd, please correct me if Zandvoort is in South Africa. Kyalami. Anyway, whatever. I'm getting way off track. JP, I love these things. We joked and we still call them bitch buckets to this day. But we have seen really nice manual cabriolets bring some very interesting dollar amounts. Our particular car is on Bring a Trailer and is running no reserve. It closes tomorrow. The photos aren't anything great, but they're honest enough. Look at that steering wheel. Does that look deja vu, Sarah? Do you recognize that steering wheel? Could you sell that to a Porsche guy? I bet you could. That steering wheel's got 964 written all over it, doesn't it, John? But anyway, the cloth seats are so nostalgic. Just the way these things go, that little basket handle, everything about them. I'm not afraid to admit that I still think these cars are cool. Despite the high miles, this one looks to be in really, really nice condition. Based on that badge on the front quarter, I think this is a Carmen-built car, which means it was built in Germany and not in Brazil or Mexico. So this car could surprise. The miles are going to hold it back from bringing 30 grand, but I wouldn't be surprised, JP, if this car got in and around the $20,000 range. And I just thought, in June, this would be fun to take a look at one. We haven't really seen one since last summer. So JP, a Volkswagen Cabriolet in quadruple white. What do you think?
That's a lot of fun. This is definitely a bitch bucket. Our friend Jason Alter, friend of the show, he had one of these, and it definitely suits him because, I don't know, bitch. I just did that to our good friend. We were talking about earlier in the show, we reconciled that SLK 55. That was a car that Sarah brought up, was like, hey, is this kind of considered a hairdresser's car or a girl's car? And we answered, yes, it certainly is. But let's be honest. I think most actual men would rather be seen in this car than that SLK 55. Myself included. I would be more embarrassed to drive that. I would be fine reliving the movie, what was it, License to Drive, get out of my dreams and into my car. This is a car that was in so many different episodes of so many different TV shows and movies. There was 21 Jump Street with Depeche Mode, where Johnny Depp was driving around one of these. So, any guy that drives one of these can say, well, Johnny Depp drove one, so it must be cool. I love it. These things are super, super reliable. 125,000 miles. These things just getting broken in. It doesn't have a ton of power. It's just a regular 8-valve inline horizontally opposed front wheel drive little torque steering thing. This is a Mark 1 Volkswagen Rabbit that he started these back in 75, for crying out loud. All they did is put some plastic ground effects on the bottom. You got a little bit more horsepower. This is, a lot of people want to buy these for their kids or for the teenagers or whatever. It's got an airbag, so I guess that means it's safe, but there ain't no crumple zones in this thing. This is a death trap, but I love it. Sarah, you'd look good in it. What do you think of this car?
Okay, this is such a nostalgia moment because First of all, my kids and I still play that, you hit each other if you get a punch bug or any kind of Volkswagen. We do that in Porsches. When I went to college, I mean, every girl had a bitch basket and every guy had a Jetta. I mean, that was literally the parking lot. And I'm not kidding. And so it's just, the funny thing is you really don't see them on the road anymore. I mean, I've been kind of almost hunting for them because I was trying to tell my kids about that experience. I mean, to have this white on white, the guy must have had a toothbrush and vacuum and spray bottle. And how do you clean every inch of a white on white on white on white car? I mean, that's like next to impossible. You don't have kids. You probably don't have a dog. I don't know. Is it a garage clean practically?
Yeah, and it's got the cloth interior too. Usually they're just wiped out, those interiors. And this one being in the Northwest, it rains all the time. So this must have been like a summer car for this guy.
Seasonal.
Yeah. Deeb, what do you think of this car? What's it going to bring?
So I just want to shout out Joe Alias says Farfignugan, which absolutely for sure Farfignugan. JP, our car is sitting at $8,000. And that is come to us on just 8 bids. Yeah, JP, again, lower miles. Half the miles this car would be somewhere between 28 and 35,000 bucks. But I think with 100,000 miles, we're going to be in that 18 to 20 range. But it's only got a day to go, and it's only got 8 bids. It's not showing signs of the life I expected this car to have. So if we took that number and doubled it, we'd be at 16. I like this thing, so I'm going to give you, I don't know, JP, 16. What is it, a 1.8? $16,180 will be my bid. I'm going to change it, $16,180. There you go. I really wanted this car. My bid that I just erased was 21 grand, but now that I'm looking at this, it just doesn't look like it has the life. It could surprise us, but do we expect a Volkswagen to more than double on the last day? That kind of action is reserved for Porsches on Bring a Trailer, and this is not a Porsche. So $16,180 to you. But John, I just feel like, maybe better pictures and a driving video? This car.
How many miles does it have on it again?
125.
And what's it at right now?
129,000. It's at $8,000 on 8 bids.
Okay, so this is one of those things where you start to get into the nitty gritty on BAT and these cars. When you're buying a car at an auction site, it's so much different looking at photos than it is looking at photos in real life. I am slightly concerned about a couple things, and I'm not saying that this car has been repainted or if it's had an accident, but I'm seeing evidence in these photos that are not clear enough to determine decisively whether or not there's some overspray in some weird spots or not. Whether or not what I'm seeing in some areas is orange peel or evidence of some Bondo work, or it might just be that it's dirty. And that's why really, really good photos are so important when you're trying to sell a car on one of these auction sites, because if the car is legit and if the car is clean, even if it's a little dirty underneath, you want to make sure that the photos represent the car honestly and say, hey, look, because I'm seeing some stuff that looks maybe like overspray. I'm seeing it. I just can't tell. There's some photos here that I just can't tell, especially like around the back fenders. Let's see if I can get in there, guys. I'm just, like the trim on there, I think is supposed to be black, but it's like that trim in between the bodywork, I think should be black, but it's white. So was it painted over, or did they actually make white trim on those? I can't remember. So I'd really like to see that in real life. And the way these fenders, the bulge on the fender is coming together with the body panel, I don't know. I can't tell. Picture's not clear enough. It's not high enough resolution. So with that said, I'm going to err on the side of judgment. Your number was what? 16 grand? I'm going to
16,180.
16,180. I'm going to park it right under you at 15 grand and hand it off to Sarah.
Oh man, I was literally just going to go at 15 even. Okay. So being that we're at 8, do I really think it's going to even double? I think I'm going to go under you. I mean, it's as much. I mean, listen, if it's going to sell at 8, I'd almost go write a check for it just to have the nostalgia moment, just to try to flip it. I guess I'll go a little. I'm going to go 14.5. Just to be clear.
Parking it right under me. That's good strategy right there. Yeah, I mean, I think, boy, if it was under that, if it only brings like 10, 11 grand, how much fun would that be in a summer day, top down, having a good time?
It's no reserve, so it's going to sell.
Oh, there you go. It's going to sell. So, I don't know. What is the nerd herd saying? Are you guys seeing anything like that I'm seeing? Am I just being too darn nitpicky? Nate N says all these cars have been in an accident, and it's probably true.
Yeah.
I mean, no anti-lock brakes on these things. They slid in everything.
Anthony wants to know how much cocaine was lost in this thing. Well, with the top down, it blows everywhere. We know that. Michael S. is at 16. Randy at 13.5. Michael Buddha is at 11.5. Scott Dickerson at 17.5. Anthony's at 12.5. Leaf is at 12. Gerd is at 14.9. Thank you, Gerd. Chris Carbine at 16.3. What's up, Chris? Christian with a K is at 9,500. Wow. Is saying, I ain't seeing it. 9,500 is the bid. Indy Dave is at 13.5. And I think, let's see. Indy Dave said, sorry, just saw Randy's bid. He'll take 14, so he doesn't conform. Andy Stahl, something, 11. So there you go. Blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of bids and a lot of range from 9 to like 17.
I have a question. What's the trading value of cocaine? Because if there are any traces left, maybe somebody could collect it through their nose.
That is true. If it was a DeLorean, you could really quantify that. But in a Volkswagen, they could never afford more than a gram. Come on.
I mean, look, Andy is saying that these are super easy to maintain. So this is a great starter car for an enthusiast. This is low barrier to entry to have something a lot of fun for not a lot of money. Someone mentioned that Chris mentioned that the Carfax is clean, but from 1992, can you how many accidents happened back in the 90s that are obviously not on the Carfax? And that's the problem. That's one of the difficult parts of buying cars from, when you're looking at classics. You really got to know what the hell you're looking at. Like I was mentioning, that trim in between the body kit, is it supposed to be white or is that supposed to be black and it was painted over? I don't know the answer to that, but that'd be
the rest. Yeah.
Right. I mean, because if it's supposed to be black, then that's a big tell. But if it's supposed to be white, then it's not so much. So knowing one way or the other would give you a lot of darn information. I wish I knew. What do you guys think the little bitch bucket will bring? Will they fill it full of cash in a couple of days? And just have to have a garbage sack for all their money? What's that, Sarah?
When you buy it.
Yeah. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy.
1989 linen gray metallic G50 cab.
Is that gonna be for sale?
It is gonna be for sale. The car only has 65,000 miles.
Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair.
Several days later.
1992 Volkswagen Cabriolet with a 5-speed manual that was on Bring a Trailer last week. Our car was offered out of University Place, Washington, showing 129,000 miles. This was a white on white on white on white Carmen built Cabriolet. 92, they were already building Mark IIs, but JP always reminds us that all the Cabriolets were built on Mark Is. This car looked nice. It's got the manual. When you consider the mileage, that interior looks really, really good for the mileage. And it's from JP's old neck of the woods, being up there in Washington town. So I thought our car would be fun to cover as summer is here. And the car was running no reserve, so we knew this one was going to do well. JP, I started the bidding at $16,180. You took the under at $15,000. And on our last show, visiting us from Los Angeles, California, there's none other than Sara Dakarmen from LA Dismantlers, the Porsche Dismantler. Great friend of the show, great friend of pretty much anything that JP's ever produced. She's at least a 7 or 8 year friend that I can think of, and she had a lot to say. She also took an under JP, going $14,500. So, Ingo, we're looking at a really nice Volkswagen Cabriolet with a manual, 129,000 miles, but it's running no reserve, and it's on BAT versus any of the other platforms. First of all, what's your bid? And second of all, do you think this car would have done better on a different platform? Just to get your opinion going.
That's interesting. So, okay, just thanks for hitting me this with. I've got so much information on this car. It's great.
Absolutely, yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind was right around 15. So it was very interesting to see where you guys were looking at it. I might go up. Things can always go crazy if you get the right two bidders in the room at the end. So I was thinking it could go 17, 18. Looking at the pictures, which are kind of like just ordinary grade, I'm guessing. I would say 15 too. Let's just stick there. And
Okay.
where would this car? You know what? This car might do better on Cars and Bids.
Interesting take. Interesting
yeah,
take.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. JP, what do you think? Cars and Bids for this, or you like it on BAT?
I don't know. I mean, the big question is, does this represent murder or a bloodbath? Let's hear the result. What happened with this car?
All right, so low bid was 9,500. High bid in the herd looks like it might have been Gert at 14. No, Michael S was at 16,000. And we're all under because this car ran no reserve and it's summertime. $18,250 was the hammer. Of course, it sold because it was running no reserve. 37 bids is decent action, JP. I don't suppose Doug DeMuro would have any trouble selling this car, but I don't know that he would have got more than 18,250. That's higher than anybody would have guessed. So I was closest in studio. I get the win at 16,180. And I don't know if anybody in the herd bid over me. I'm the high bidder, and 16.3. Chris S. Thank you. Chris S., you got that one. But JP, unlock that result for us. Do you think Cars and Bids would have got more than 18.2 for a 130,000-mile Cabrio?
I mean, I had some questions as to whether or not this car had body work or not because
Yep.
I like the way. How did you put it, Ingo? With the pictures, standard pictures, or kind of regular?
Yeah, pedestrian stuff, right?
Pedestrian,
Things
right,
you might
yeah.
take. Yeah.
Medium grade, I thought is what he called
grade,
it. Medium
it's like
grade,
medium
yeah.
grade chicken parts at your McDonald's. Look, this car, I would not be surprised if this car was actually bought by someone in the Northwest, because one thing because I came up in the Northwest and I've always loved convertibles, and my first car was a convertible, so I've always been and the reason why in the Northwest everyone goes, why would you have a convertible in a place that rains 10 months out of the year? And the answer is because when it doesn't, there's nothing nicer than having your top down and being reminded just how nice it is for those couple of months, or some people would say a few weeks. So by the time spring and summer comes around in the Northwest, people are clamoring. They're looking for the convertibles. They're like, oh my God, I got to get a convertible. Convertibles are worth all the money for 6 weeks. And then it gets gray again, and then nobody ever wants one again. So if you can get your car for sale in that bubble, you're really on to something. I don't know. Ingo, what do you think of the results of this little bitch bucket?
I think that was a huge result for them. I mean, triple white, it's some people either love it or hate it. That's the beauty of no reserve. I always tell my clients, look, all we're hoping to do is get two people in the room who really love it at the very end, and hopefully they go a little crazy, right? And that's kind of what happened here. So I'm kind of shocked. Although I did say maybe 17 or so with the right, if we had the right people in the room. So if I was representing this, that would have definitely been my hope. But that was a great result, I think.
Certainly the right people in the room on this one. And, bloodbath? No. Murder? Yeah. Someone murdered it by selling this car for $18,000. Nice work to the sellers, and congratulations. Yeah, right. What do you guys think of the results of this little bitch bucket on BAT? Would it have brought more money on Cars and Bids like Ingo seems to think it would? Or was this all the money you could possibly fit in that thing without the money just flying down the freeway? Let us know in the comments below. Hey guys, thanks for watching this clip of the Bid Nerds podcast. Play along with us live every Sunday and Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. on YouTube, and see if your bids stack up to the rest of the nerd herd in the chat live. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you on the next episode.
No!